Why are we completely incapable of letting the chaotic intersection of Silicon Valley and old-school Hollywood tech gossip die, even years after the courtroom lights have officially burned out? It is a question that demands an answer, especially when a single algorithmic spike can convince millions of people that a fresh public war of words has broken out between the world's most visible billionaire and one of the most polarizing figures in modern pop culture history. Over the last few days, digital platforms have been absolutely flooded with a very specific, high-intensity claim that Elon Musk has officially broken his silence to drop a definitive, earth-shattering statement addressing the lingering rumors, the hidden text messages, and the dark allegations surrounding his brief, highly volatile relationship with Amber Heard. If you have spent any time scrolling through your feeds lately, you have likely run into these videos with bold, high-contrast text asserting that a new chapter of this drama has been unsealed. But before we get swept away by the sheer velocity of the internet's collective outrage machine, we need to strip away the sensationalism and look at the actual blueprint of what is happening right now, because the truth of this latest development tells us far more about how the modern internet manufactures drama than it does about the actual individuals involved. To understand the sudden explosion of interest over the past 72 hours, we have to look closely at what actually happened versus what the algorithms want you to believe happened. There is no new press conference, no midnight thread posted to X by Musk, and no fresh legal filing. Instead, the real catalyst is a complex feedback loop of old courtroom transcripts, newly published deep-dive books like Hollywood Vampires, and lingering anecdotes from Walter Isaacson's biography that have suddenly been weaponized by short-form video platforms to create the illusion of an immediate, real-time controversy. Millions of viewers are interacting with old testimonies as if they were delivered yesterday morning. Specifically, the internet has latched back onto the explosive statements made by building security officers and concierges from the Eastern Columbia building in Los Angeles. These testimonies, which originally detailed Musk visiting the penthouse garage late at night while Johnny Depp was away on film sets, are being framed as brand new revelations that forced Musk to break his silence. In reality, the only permanent public record of Musk directly addressing the Heard saga remains his notable May 2022 response to a tweet by scientist Lex Fridman, where Musk wrote that he hoped both individuals could move on, adding that at their best, they are each incredible. That single, diplomatic tweet is being recycled, repackaged, and served up to audiences as a direct, modern reaction to a whole new wave of public scrutiny. The velocity at which this non-story turned into a massive cultural debate is a masterclass in the mechanics of modern digital platforms. Within hours of these old clips resurfacing on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, a massive wave of public reaction began to form. Tens of thousands of users began dissecting the relationship dynamics, digging up old text messages produced during the 2022 Virginia trial, and debating the structural chaos that seemed to follow this pairing wherever they went. Viral clips featuring edited supercuts of Musk looking visibly uncomfortable during interviews are being stitched together with audio snippets of Heard's past legal depositions to create entirely fabricated narratives of a current, ongoing feud. The social media debate has divided itself into highly predictable, intensely aggressive factions. On one side, you have tech enthusiasts and defenders of the billionaire who argue that his relationship with Heard was a brief, unfortunate lapse in judgment that nearly derailed his professional focus, frequently citing the infamous, resurfaced quote from an inner circle source claiming Heard did more to slow down electric vehicle progress than the CEO of ExxonMobil. On the other side, pop culture commentators are fiercely criticizing Musk for his historical behavior, pointing out that his past actions, such as publicly posting a private photograph of Heard in a custom Overwatch cosplay outfit without her explicit permission back in late 2023, show a fundamental disregard for personal boundaries and digital consent. This entire situation has escalated so drastically because it touches upon the absolute pinnacle of our modern obsession with high-stakes celebrity relationships, where the stakes aren't just a couple of tabloid cover stories, but billions of dollars in corporate valuation and massive geopolitical influence. When a typical Hollywood couple splits, the fallout is managed by public relations firms and confined to entertainment news cycles. But when you introduce a figure who commands massive aerospace and automotive empires, the private chaos takes on an entirely different dimension of public fascination. The public looks at this not just as a standard relationship failure, but as a window into the psychological vulnerability of someone who holds an immense amount of global infrastructure in his hands. It highlights a fascinating reality of influencer and celebrity culture. We no longer consume drama as a passive audience. We treat it like an interactive true crime investigation. Viewers will spend hours analyzing old footage, looking at the positioning of bruises in a photograph from 2016, or tracking the timeline of a luxury elevator's key fob entries, all to feel as though they are unearthing a secret that the mainstream media is actively trying to hide. This collective drive to solve the mystery is what keeps the topic perpetually alive, allowing old content to be infinitely reborn as breaking news the second the algorithm detects a slight shift in user engagement. When we strip away the noise, what does this ongoing obsession actually do to the long-term reputations of the people involved? For Amber Heard, who has spent the last few years living an intensely private life in Europe away from the crushing weight of the Hollywood ecosystem, these sudden, unprovoked algorithmic resurgences act as a permanent digital anchor. They ensure that no matter how much time passes, or how cleanly she attempts to pivot away from her past, her identity in the global public consciousness remains entirely tied to the most chaotic, scrutinized moments of her adulthood. For Elon Musk, the impact is remarkably different but equally telling. His brand has always been built on the concept of absolute predictability in engineering paired with absolute unpredictability in personal behavior. Yet, when the internet continuously drags him back into the orbit of old personal scandals, it chips away at the carefully cultivated image of the hyper-rational, forward-thinking innovator. Instead, it reframes him as someone deeply susceptible to the very human, messy, and destabilizing forces of emotional conflict that his brother Kimball Musk and his closest advisors reportedly warned him about for years. Ultimately, this whole phenomenon leaves us looking at a much bigger, more troubling reality about the structural landscape of the modern internet. We have built a digital environment where the boundaries between past and present have been completely erased by design. A courtroom testimony, given years ago, carries the exact same emotional weight and command for attention as an event that occurred 5 minutes ago, provided it is edited with the right high-intensity audio track and framed with an urgent, speculative hook. It forces us to wonder how anyone, whether they are a controversial Hollywood actress or the wealthiest individual on the planet, can ever truly move past their most toxic eras when the platforms we occupy are financially incentivized to keep those eras on a permanent, profitable loop. As long as these old clips continue to generate millions of views and drive massive user retention, the internet will never allow the dust to settle, leaving us to wonder if the next major statement we see will be an actual piece of breaking news, or just another ghost from the past perfectly engineered to capture our attention all over again.